Hey everybody, it's Uncle Wayne. Welcome to another episode of the Firefighters Chalkboard. On this crisp Saturday morning, we're gonna do the Battle of the Carolinas back and forth right here. We got me myself in South Carolina, and we got the legendary Danny B from the Student of the Game podcast on today. And Danny's just a little north of me. Danny, good morning. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you? And hopefully, everybody listening, whenever they listen, is doing well.
Yeah. So for everybody that's not exposed to the student at a game, if you would, Danny, tell them a little bit about you, your background and stuff, and what you do with your podcast.
So, a little background about me. I am originally from up north. Yes, I am a Yankee who has invaded the Carolinas, like so many others before and after me. I started out as a volunteer. I had no aspirations to be a firefighter. I mean, I thought fire trucks were cool, but that wasn't my game plan. The game plan was film editing, some sort of editing and media, but specifically film. And in order to graduate high school up north, you needed to have community service hours. Uh, my mom went to talk to her friend who was like, hey, have him just go to the firehouse and get his hours that way. So she was like, hey, this is what you need to do. I go there. Long story short on that, I went there thinking that I applied for community service hours. I filled out the application unbeknownst to me, and I went back and dropped it off. A week or two goes by. They call me back to come back to get voted in. Like I said, I was 17 when I joined. So, the mindset wasn't there. I wasn't really fully understanding what they were asking me to do. I go down there, I get sworn in, and I'm like, okay. They run a background check. They're like, everything's clean. And then they're like, try this jacket, try the pants, try the hood, find you some gloves. Nothing's registering until I finally put on an SCBA and like took my first exhale because like nobody told you have to take an exhale, so I was kind of freaking out a little bit. And then I was like, "Hey, I'm just here for community service hours." They're like, "No, that application you filled out is an application for membership." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, long story short, man, I truly fell in love with the fire service. Watching those before me, the OGs, the old heads, they had several members, maybe a year or two older than me, that been on for a while, and just learning from them, watching them do their thing, it was like awesome, man. So like when I joined, as soon as I got done with school, I was at the firehouse. I did my homework at the firehouse. I rode my bike to the firehouse. Hell, if I didn't want to ride my bike, I walked to the firehouse. So like it kept me out of trouble for sure.
Hmm.
I'm not saying like I grew up in like the ghetto, but I mean my area we had some drug issues, we had gang issues, things like that. But it kept me on the straight and path. It kept me out of trouble. Um, After 9/11, my dad's business got affected really bad. He was in the limo service business, and so he was like, "Hey, we're moving to Charlotte or somewhere near Charlotte." And I just started film school, and he was like, you can come with us or you can stay. We're fine either way." And I was like, "What time do like let's roll?" Like I am a Yankee, but I wanted something else. I the snows, the weather, man. I was done with that. So we moved down to North Carolina. The first thing I did, I had to find a volunteer department. I did. I got on, rose through the ranks there. Looking back, I had no business being an assistant chief of training at the age that I was. It was more because probably, and I'm not afraid to say it, like I was very active. I ran a lot of calls. I did have some experience, but like looking back, man, at that age, no, I didn't need to have that position. But I'm fortunate where I was able to get it, where I was able to see a different side, having to attend meetings and things like that. But when I was a volunteer, I worked part time at Sherwin Williams, and I went to school at the time too. So a friend of mine was like, "Hey, Moore's was getting ready to hire full time firefighters," and never crossed my mind. I was like, "Oh, okay." I did apply for Charlotte one time. I didn't make the cut, but I applied for Mooresville. I got on my first shot. a hell of a agility test to get on back in the day, but I was able to do it, and that's it, man. It's been the best decision of my life at times. Like I love the fire service, but I don't like the politics side. But other than that, like I can't complain. Like I'd be a fool to complain.
Just in that little bit right there, I pulled some nuggets from that. Some of the stuff I can really relate to because I used to work Sherman Williams too.
Okay.
I have chunked more block filler out of the back of a semi and you can shake a stick at. Especially whenever we had they were doing all the additions to Coastal Carolina University where we were. We were the closest Sherman Williams store, so we'd
Okay.
get a truck full of nothing but block filler every week. And the stock, and for people that don't know, the stock room in the back of a paint store sucks.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's hot in the summertime.
Lots of 5 gallon buckets of paint, a lot.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
but a lot of same things. I started really young. Done my homework at the firehouse. Spent every waking minute I could because I found I wouldn't I found purpose, but I found somewhere that I felt that was a calling for what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it gave me structure. I mean, nothing against parents or whatever. My mom and dad busted their ass, done their best to take care of us. But they had to work a lot. My mom was a manager in a grocery store. My dad worked for he worked for a marine dealership and then turned wrenches at night to make side cash. So the fire department was my structure. That was I kind of hung out there, and I had firemen helping me do my homework and stuff sometimes. So I mean, it was a good safety net for me to keep me out of trouble, keep me where I needed to go. But I really like the fact of the humility you showed in just that little bit because I've heard stories after stories about people in volunteer houses that get put in something because they're super active. So they're like, this guy's really active. Let's put him here. And you were talking about like doing the training stuff, and you realize that you got put in a position when you were really young. But look at what it done. It gave you aspects to get better, to see yourself,
Mm-hmm.
show you humility. So look at, and it might have put you in a predicament to start off with you trying to have to figure your way through it.
Right.
But the end result of the growth, that little bit of uncomfortableness actually made you, and then it made you, I would be safe to say that it probably gave you 100 times more respect for the people that do go in through the training aspects and stuff because
Absolutely.
you played that part.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, us being put in those positions when we really don't realize what we're getting into actually solidifies the effect of us being a humble fireman and then keeping that humility with us to pass it on to others and being able to show it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I caught a big nugget from that. And I actually had a huge conversation with somebody the other day. And I said, if there was three things we could put back into fire service that would automatically make it better, would be humility, grace, and patience. If we could put those three things back in, is and it's not saying to take any grit away from anybody because some of the old timers, like you were talking about the old timers you had, I had a bunch of old salts that were gritty. I mean, those dudes were hardcore and larger than life whenever I was a kid in the fire service, but they were always still humble and they always showed a lot of grace. Whereas something we need to get a lot of that back.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
and it's not hard to do. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
It costs nothing.
Time and effort. That's
Yeah, a
all.
little bit of time and effort. You're absolutely right. The So student in the game, how did that come about? What made you think that you wanted to throw that thing out for everybody?
So I reached during my full my professional career as a fireman, I hit a wall about 3.5, 4 years ago, maybe, where like I stated this on the Carter Justin Carter's podcast, where um I saw like I was able to do my job.
Hmm.
I did my job without having been told to do it. I did it well. I didn't complain. But I got to a point where I noticed like other individuals were just They were there to get away from their family life. They were there to get a break from their side hustle, which they to them their side hustle was more of like their full-time job, and our career job was like a part-time gig. So it was like reversed. And so I was just like, man, there's no way like this is how the fire service should be. And I got to a point where I either well, I mean, I'll be fully transparent. I did apply. I looked into and I applied to a different department. And I even thought about just getting out of the fire service altogether. I was like, man, I don't think this is like, I don't know. I'm at a point in my career where I feel like this is not the way I need to feel coming into work, because I started dreading coming into work. And I had a buddy of mine who was like, hey, man, listen to this podcast, which I knew podcasts existed. I didn't know that they were like fire service podcasts, though. So I listened to it. And the more I kept listening, I just kept hearing the same issues that I was going through. And like these dudes were on bigger departments than I am. I'm like, okay. And I just kept listening and I started hearing like these familiar names that everybody kept talking about. Then they started talking about fire conferences and going to trainings. And I was just like, all right. And so I forgot how I Googled it, but I Googled like fire conferences in North Carolina, and Carolina Fire Days popped up on the
Hmm.
search, and I clicked on it, and then like they talked about like the upcoming. I had time to apply to go, and I started reading like lectures and speakers and what they do and all these things and different names, and I was like intrigued. So I talked to my wife, and I was like, I want to go to this. I was like, but I gotta, I don't really want to pay for it. Like I feel like we can use our money for something else. And she was like, if this is for your job, she's like, you should just go, just give it a shot. And I was hesitant, and she was like, just do it. So like I got out my credit card, I paid for a full conference pass, and I'll tell she knows this, but I tell everybody else too, like her pushing me to go to that changed my career and sparked something. Like it was always there, but you know how you need somebody to bring things out of you
You
sometimes
need
you
that
don't know
push.
you have that push.
Yeah.
So like I went, man, and the first day I went, I didn't really know anybody, but I sit in the front row, and then like I start seeing some of these familiar faces and things that I've seen online. And I can tell you, man, the lectures, talking to individuals from other fire departments, hearing the same story, like when they're talking to you about a certain person, you can visualize a person in your department that hits that mole.
Hmm.
And so it was awesome, man. I took my hot class, and I came back that first night and was like, this is awesome. Like, thank you. I needed this. And so from there on out, I have gone every single year. This coming November, it's actually next in like 2 weeks from now, I'll be at my fourth straight Carolina Fire Days conference. Looking forward to it. And so with that, I started thinking about a couple things, and I was like, man, like I'm a nobody, but I like to talk to people. I want to hear different people's perspectives. And so
Hmm.
I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. And she's like, for real? And I was like, yeah. She's like, you're going to have to like put yourself out there. Like, you comfortable talking? And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, worst I could do is try and it doesn't work out. And I'm just like, all right, it didn't work out. Like, I mean, it's a couple bucks out of my pocket, but nothing crazy. And so I looked into how podcasts work, and then I started like, all right, I need a name. I need a name, and how am I going to do this? What am I going to talk about? And the first thing was, I am not talking strategies and tactics. Like
No.
that's not me.
Nope.
I said I just want to talk to people, hear how they got into the fire service, and why they are the way they are when it comes to how they view the job, whether that's through good experiences, bad experiences, good leadership, bad leadership, whatever the case may be. So I started formulating things, and I was just thinking of a name, and I thought about, some catchy gimmick fire names. And I'm like, man, that's like cheesy. And then I was like, well, if you're really into something and you want to develop yourself and learn more, it's like you're a student.
Hmm.
And then I was just like, student of the game. And then I was like, student of the game fire podcast. Because I didn't want to just leave it student of the game podcast. But I was like, I want people to understand what I talk about. So I was like, I'm just gonna add the fire. And I came up with the name, and I was like, all right, I like it. And I was like, I need an image. Hopefully nobody else takes offense to this, but like, the skull type images are very popular and they're cool. Like there are some, like I think his name's Zach Newton or
Yes,
Zachary Newton.
I love his
He
stuff.
comes up with some badass designs,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do something a little different. And I was like, I'm gonna do something simple. So I was going through my photos because I have a lot of fire photos, and I found a photo of myself on a hand line on a gas leak, and I'm like, I like that. And I was like, I'm not gonna do it in color though. I'm just gonna put black and white. And then I just put it all together and I was like, all right, that's it. Like my gut's like, dude, don't go too crazy, make it simple. And that's all it is. So it's me on a handline on a gas leak, kneeling down, watching crews work. And I put the name on there and I'm like, all right, who am I gonna contact? It's like that's the next step. And then so I had an instant notion. I was like, guess number one is gonna be my brother from another. His name's Jeremy Gilbert. He actually works for the same department. We're on different shifts. He's a lieutenant, which is for us, lieutenants are drivers, and they play substitute teacher when the captain's off. And I was like, "Hey, man, this is what I'm doing. I want you to be my first guest." And he was like, "Send it. Send me what you need." And he freaking crushed it. Like, awesome interview. And then so I just was like, all right, I just started reaching out. So that's where I use social media as a tool, a guide, more like a weapon, really. Like I started, and it's weird how when your phone starts noticing trends and stuff, like it'll send me like people you might not know. And I'll look at the person's bio and what they're talking about. And I'm like, perfect. So then I just slowly started reaching out to people and I never thought ever it would blow up the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, man, that's how it came about. A lot of learning curves. The first year, dude, I was doing like 5 or 6 interviews in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, I gotta figure out, because like I would literally, especially in the summertime, I would have to do husbandly duties. So I would like go mow my front yard, get it mowed, cleaned up, bring the mower to the backyard, stop, blow myself off, and go do an interview. And then as soon as it's done, go back outside, finish. And then I got to get my daughter from school or wait for her for the bus. And I have to do dinner. So I had to balance it. But I can tell you the friendships, the relationships I have been fortunate to
To
have. It's just, man, it's been awesome.
Absolutely.
But
Mine.
I will say too, there is, if for anyone thinking about doing it, there is a downside, and I know you know this. When you try to do something positive for the fire service, be prepared for the naysayers. Be prepared for the haters. Be prepared for the people that are like, what gives him the right to do that? Who is he to do that? And I tell people, I have never been like 100% into the job. I've always cared about my job. I've always made sure priorities were my job. But I was one of those people, I stayed in a shell. And I kind of continue to do that. Like, I'm not Mr. Popular. I talk to the people I feel comfortable talking to. And that's because through life experiences, man, you can't just go around letting people know all your business, because certain people are going to use that to their advantage. People are going to talk bad about you. People are going to spread rumors about you. So, for anyone listening, you can definitely start a podcast, but just be prepared for the attacks that you'll get with that.
You're absolutely right. 100%. Nothing but truth thrown out there. The Mine's close. A podcast between that and a new job position saved my career. I'll throw that out 100%. I was in a dark place. I mean, I was on an engine company for years and years, all I'd ever done, and in a dark place, burnout, just going through the motions. I had become one of the guys that was had the ticker on my phone, looking at the days until how many days left until it's time to retire. I mean, I was that guy. I was um, some of the people that I used to work with. They knew I loved them. They knew I cared about them. But I was an ass. I mean, I was just I was a miserable individual. Um, got a chance to do another job, go into the training division. Done a lot of soul searching to go and do that. And I figured, my mentor reached out to me and told me I needed to do it. He's like, you don't have a lot of time left. It would be a shame to waste all that learning and not pass it on. So I took that to heart whenever he reached out to me because, it was my boss from 20 years ago, and started doing it. And then got going in the rhythm of that. And I'm like, there's got to be something more for me because, if you're on an engine, ladder truck, rescue squad, no matter what you're doing, you've got a lot of people around you and a lot of people to relate to and talk to and things like that. But whenever I found myself in the world of training, man, that circle gets small quick
Mm-hmm.
because there's not that many training people in the fire service. They're honestly, per capita, there's not. Like look at my department, we've got 700 people, and we've got 4 fire training officers. So that circle got small real fast.
Right.
So I done it. I started the podcast as a way to make a network with other instructors. That way we could toss ideas, have somebody to talk to, vent to, and it exposed the world to all the other instructors around.
Mm-hmm.
The people that, we're the people that don't make the pipe swingers whenever come out of recruit academy.
Right.
But
Right.
we're house builders, man. We laid a foundation for the framing crew to come in and start after us. Is the basic what we do. But you're exactly right. I never thought that trying to start something as a positive note to bring something good. Because if it opened my eyes and I seen the need for it, there's got to be tons of people across the country to say there's a need for this too. But I never thought it was really a surprise that I would have the pushback, the
Mm-hmm.
naysayers, the stuff that come in, and it was you have to take it as a challenge. Don't take it to heart because the easiest way to remember is Babe Ruth said it best: the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. He said the people that have the people that invest the most in to see what's going on are the people that pay the most to support it. And that means a lot because it's easy for anybody to say something negative.
Mm-hmm.
It takes work to say something positive to find to push out the positives, and it's important that we do it. And I know pre-gaming we were talking about that a lot, and we need a lot more positive coming into fire service. There's enough negative all over the world. We need more positive. We need more. We need to put the true meanings in the flash word of brotherhood again. Both of us have been in the fire service long enough. We've seen a difference in brotherhood from when we started versus when we are now. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, the younger generation is not going to learn if we don't set the right example for them to follow.
Facts.
And there is no other way to say it. And it's a I really love the attitude of podcasting because it can be what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can get on right now and you can listen to people that find everything wrong with everything there is.
Yeah.
And then every
Yeah.
now and then you can find ones that they're trying to find that nugget of hope to push forward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, I find it is the whole saying, like what I'm doing, what you're trying to do. You're trying to, from what my thoughts of what you do is, you're trying to show it's okay to be a student. It's okay to love the job. It's okay to push forward and make yourself better. Um, that's manning the pumps. I threw a question out a couple weeks ago on my Facebook page, and it was if the boat starts sinking, are you going to jump overboard and swim, or are you going to man the pumps? I see what me and you are doing a lot of times. We're manning the pumps right now. We're trying to reach out to the people so they can get nuggets from us and get maybe a shift in mindset so they can work harder to save the boat. Let it keep floating. Don't let it sink. That's it's metaphorically, something, but it's a way to reach out
Mm-hmm.
because if we have, and I'm not going to say problems, if we've got things that need to be accomplished, things that need to be changed, If we have these in our departments, guaranteed they're all over the place.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And maybe we can, because like you were talking about going to conferences. My I went to our state conference, every year because I didn't put myself, I didn't educate myself about what the fire service truly had available for us. Um, I just go to the state conference. I go to our state academy classes and stuff like that, and that's pretty much all I thought there was around because I didn't. I kind of kept myself in that same shell. Didn't really get out and look a whole lot. And then when I got started teaching, I had somebody come up to me and said, "Hey, why don't you put in to teach at Massey?" They listened to a little thing I'd done. They said, "You need to put that in." All they can say is no.
Mm-hmm.
And I got accepted to present. I went to Massey for the first time, and I was like, I was not prepared for that. And that's sad to say after, 20 something years in the fire service that I hadn't never been exposed to that, but I wasn't prepared for it, but I fully embraced it. I fell in love with it. Like you talking about, I mean, that recharged my batteries in like the first 3 hours I was there of being exposed to so many people that loved the job. Nobody was sitting there griping about what was wrong. It was just nothing but every bit of positive the fire service could have. The brotherhood, we went to a fool's bash that night, and just people I'd never seen before because I was a nobody there. I'm still a nobody there, but I met a lot of people that were somebodies, and the information I was able to get from them was priceless, and made contacts with them and everything. And then when I come back, it was like you were talking about with Carolina Fire Days. It was like, where's the next one I can find? Where
Yeah.
where can I go? This is where I'm going to use my vacation time for this, honey. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
do this. A lot of if we don't talk about it, kind of like what we're doing right now, a little front bumper conversation. If we don't talk about the experiences we've had and the positivity we got from it, nobody else is going to know about it. I mean, there is so many good just in the southeast part of where we live. In the southeast region of the country, uh, you got the one that's in St. Augustine. I can't really remember the name of that one, but they do it every year.
Okay. Yeah. There's so many.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the bigger ones. You got Massey. You got Smoky Mountain. You've got South Carolina Academy. You got the one in Raleigh.
Safer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. You got Carolina Fire Days. They're everywhere, and I know they're all across the country. And there's so many people that don't know about these things. And
Mm-hmm.
if you could hit one every 6 months. If you only just found one to go to every 6 months, that recharge that you bring back, and if you spark one other person when you come back, look at how much it's infectious.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So you said your first interview was a buddy of yours on a different shift. Mine, because when I started mine, it was going to be instruction and mentorship. To it's passing it out that it's okay to be a mentor. It's okay to teach people stuff. It's okay to make an impact in people's lives, and it might be more than just the fire service because um, a lot of the kids we see now, like in my part of the job, they've never been exposed to this stuff. They didn't hang out at the firehouse for a community service project or having a family member or something. A lot of them are like, yeah, this looks like it'd be a neat job, and they come in. So we've got to make that impact. So,
Mm-hmm.
like my first student or my first guest on my podcast was one of my students,
Okay.
and somebody that had recently graduated. Now he was a little different. I looked up to his dad a lot. They were from New York, and his dad was a paid fireman at a department and a volunteer at another. And this kid grew up in the firehouse. I mean, he was probably that little kid riding around in a pedal car in between the bays and stuff while his dad was checking rigs off or something. But being able to give a place for other students to listen to give them a place where they can get inside the minds of an instructor or get inside the mind of a mentor so they can know what those people are expecting of them. So it takes the guesswork away.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, the fire service is changing. What we do hasn't changed. Fires still burn, cars still getting wrecks, we still go to medical calls. That part's not going to change, except they burn hotter and faster.
Mm-hmm.
But the days of a shotgun style fat ladder house are over with most of the time. The but delivery is so much different because look at how the mindset of people have changed. So it gives a way where if we expose a senior fireman listening to this or listening to me talk to a somebody that's got 2 years on the job that is still trying to learn, if they can think of how they see things, how that younger person's mindset is, maybe they can just change their delivery to where that person's more successful and easier to understand things.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with way too many of those guys that were bullheaded back in the day, and you gonna do everything the way they say do it, no questions asked. If you didn't, they'd turn their back and walk away, and you wouldn't see that guy again. The fire service is going to die if we don't embrace these people. I'm not saying make them soft. I'm not saying make it easy on them. The job's still tough. We just got to change how we treat them and how our delivery goes.
Sir.
So, what number are you on right now? How many have you done?
Pull it up real quick. Monday will be episode 317.
Wow.
But I can tell you, and I've told everybody else, and people think I'm joking. Like I'm really not. I am on the downhill slope. Like when my list is exhausted, and I'm not adding any more names. So when I'm done, I'm done. Like this was never a long term goal for me. It was never like I'm gonna continue to do this for many years and seasons. Uh, I I feel like what I have done over the past in 2.5 years, I have committed. It's not a fab. I'm not looking to have a bunch of and that's the thing with social media. It's like and I dislike that this is the way the world is. Like if you don't have a number of followers, it's like you don't have value. And don't and I don't like I said, I like to be transparent, but I want people to actually think about it. Like the ones that have a huge following, like that's awesome. That's great. Like hats off to you. But we're in a society where if somebody says Wayne Jones, all right, let's find him on social media. Ooh, he's only got 1,000 followers or whatever, and it's like, does he bring value? All right, let's find Tom Smith. Tom Smith does another episode. Let's look at. All right, man, he's got like 9,000 followers. Ooh, yeah, let's reach out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why do we do that? Like because the numbers can be miscued. And here's the funny thing: if you look at certain people's profiles and if you're able to view their followers, a good majority of them are fake profiles or bots. They're not real people. So it's just like this is our society now. And so I say that to say this was never a long term gain thing. Like I am 100% gra- uh, gracious and fortunate the relationships that I have been able to do, the people I've been able to talk to from across the country, people I never meet in my life unless we like actually plan to go do something. But there are plenty of other podcasts out there that people can listen to. Like if I die tomorrow, the podcast world still continues. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Sure,
but
yeah.
at least I know I have done my due diligence in bringing something where people can go, man, that episode right there sparked something to me. That person that he spoke to sparked something to me. And that, to me, that's the goal. Um, that's why I tell people, like, people will be like, hey man, you should look into like merch and maybe do video podcasts. And I'm like, nope, I'm old school. I know I look young. I'm 40. I'm 40 years old. All
You
right.
are young.
So
You're still young.
yeah, I know, but like people be like, you're 40, and I'm like, yeah, I'm 40. I'm 40 years old. But I keep it simple, old school, man. Like that's why my podcasts are all audio. You can listening listen to them doing anything out there. And but when I'm done, I'm done. And people are like, "Man, you're not giving up." I'm just telling people that's forewarning. I'm foreshadowing. When I'm done, I'm done.
And there's nothing wrong with that, Danny. You you've got a goal set you want to do, and the thing about it is all the work you've done. Once you finish and you say, okay, it's on to the next time. It's time for me to. I've done this for the fire service. Now it's time for me to play with my kids more, something like that.
Right.
Um, Nothing wrong with that at all because it's going to stay. It's not going anywhere. All those 400 episodes or however many it's going to be are still there for people to listen to forever and ever. Amen. Right. Um, I'm in a little different boat. All my kids are grown.
Mm-hmm.
See, 40 is young. Um, but 50 is not bad either.
Yeah.
You start losing a little bit of hair here.
Hey, look, I took care of that already, bro. I
Yeah,
took care of that already. I'm clean shaven.
the hearing goes away. But it's not. I sit here in social media a lot, and it just said, "What does he have?" My kids. Okay, I've got 25, 22, and 17, all girls. So they are social media all the time, except my oldest when she's busy working and everything all the time. But you're like, well, you need to do this so you get more followers. You need to do that. I was like, nah, I'm good. I said, would I like to get more followers? Sure. That to me, that means that my message is getting out more. Is
Mm-hmm.
is what I think. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not fishing for the numbers. If the message is what the message needs to be, if it's and being organic with it, the message will get out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm trying to work to push stuff and because I've done some I've done some extra work. I'm working on some book stuff and everybody's like, "Are you just trying?" No, not trying to get my name out. My name's here. When it's all said and done with, the people that matter the most are the people that's close in my family, the people I've worked with, the friends I've made along the way, and everybody will tell you that Wayne is Wayne. And prime example, went to go for a job application one time, and all the chiefs I'd worked with for years were on the panel. And I had to do an interview panel, and they said, and one of the ladies that was from an outside agency, she's like, "You're not selling yourself real well." I said, "I'm not going to. I've worked with these guys for 2 decades. If I give them somebody other than the person they've known for 2 decades, they're going to know I'm full of crap anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just be
Mm-hmm.
you. And if you like me, you'll hang around with me. If not, you'll tell me to go shove off. It's that easy.
Yeah.
But the organic matters, just like you were saying. And I like the fact that you said, okay, I've got my list. I'm not looking for any more names. And you're disciplined for that because you've got your goal you wanted to set. You've made a hell of an impact in the fire service. You got a lot of people that you've sparked interest in and, stoked the fire for some people and help them keep moving forward. I'm looking through the aspects of if you want to talk, you feel like you got a nugget, come to me. I'm going to bet you before I put you on because I don't want somebody, preaching their own little gospel that's full of crap or blowing smoke or something like that. But there's a lot of people that's got stuff that they want to push out, and it takes a lot of courage. And you know this, and you're doing it old school where nobody can see your face,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes a lot of courage to do it old school for people to hear your voice.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
and then I didn't even think about it when I first got started of, hey, I can just do audio and then I can look like a bum and it don't matter. I can sit in the car outside or sit in a chair and just do it and it'll be fine. But because I thought this is how it was, because when I first got exposed to podcasts, all of them I was looking at was all video podcasts. I'm like, well, okay, this is the way you have to do this.
Right. Right. No, and when I interview the guests, if they're comfortable, like we do it video to video, where we can see each other and it's for better conversation. Now I've had
Absolutely.
some where the camera takes a crap and we have to do it where we're just talking like over the phone, and that's fine too. But yeah, like most of the time, the guests I have, we are video to video. We see each other, and then I just release it in audio format.
Yeah. But look at how much of a difference it's made in the world. Um, Being exposed to some of the greats. I mean, I still love to sit down and listen to the Mike and Mike show. I love Gagliano and Dugan
Yeah.
together back and forth
Yeah.
and stuff. And it gives an idea. One, it gives people reassurance that everything's okay. And I'll throw that out to start off with, because like what you were talking about, going to conferences and stuff. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and the best thing anybody can ever do is get out of your sandbox and go somewhere else. Go do some training somewhere else. Go, if it's not a hot class, just go sit in for a conference somewhere else and listen to somebody else. Be exposed to different people, different thought processes, and you'll find out that a lot of the stuff that you think's a problem isn't a problem, because other people have bigger problems.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You might come back saying, "Whoa, man, this my my department's got crap on time because I was just exposed to some other stuff. We're doing okay," and
Mm-hmm.
it can recharge you that way. It's but the numbers. I think that the algorithms and the social media stuff and everybody that's bought into numbers is hurt a lot of the true missions of what people were trying to do. Everybody, and I'm not saying anybody in a podcast or anything else is trying to do anything. They're not. Most of the people, I can tell you, I know, anybody else that's listening that's had something. This crap takes work. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time away from your family. Just like you talking about, I got to cut the front yard so I can get this one done and mow the backyard, and I just got to get all of that done before I get put in time out because I didn't get everything done for the wife before she gets home from work.
Yeah.
I've done that. Or if you're still going to school, you're trying to get your classes done on your off shift days, and then you're, oh, I got a podcast, or I got this, or now I've got to do research for this podcast I'm going to do,
Mm-hmm.
or the hours and hours of editing nobody ever sees. That 30-minute clip might take you 3 days to get everything ready for.
Right.
It takes work. So everybody doing podcasts, they're not trying to do it to boost an ego or make a name for themselves. Everybody is truly doing it to do their little part to make the fire service better, because everything's going to the digital age. I mean, look at the magazines we grew up reading. I still got every copy of fire engineering I've ever had. I'm a hoarder with that one thing. Everything else I don't hoard, but I've still got uh, paper copy, printer paper boxes full of fire engineering magazines.
Right.
They all the information, they're sending out more information every month than they've ever sent out before. More reading materials, everything else, but the book's getting smaller
Uh-huh.
because they're utilizing a digital platform a lot more. Um, because that's what everybody's gone to. That's why podcasts and have done so well. That's why audiobooks have done so well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still toying on whether if I'm going to do an audiobook. My biggest thing is I'm a broke fireman. I can't afford to pay somebody to narrate it, and
Yeah.
I really don't know if I don't know how many people could stand this much cornbread, through 20 chapters of a book. But um, we're doing good,
Yeah.
and I think it's important for one person doing podcast to give reassurance to another one, because a lot of times um, this is a lonely seat to sit in.
Yeah.
It is, and it's don't get me everybody that's listening. Don't get us wrong. And I'll speak for me. I'll speak for Danny. I'll speak for anybody else doing. We absolutely love doing what we do, because this is the only way to start off with. I could ever start building a relationship with Danny or anybody else I've come in contact with. But it gives me the opportunity to where we know each other a little better. Then you end up having more phone conversations or texts and things like that, and then that way whenever you meet at Raleigh one day, it's like, hey, I do know that guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it builds that networking relationships, and truly that's what the fire service is really about. It's truly about brotherhood, networking, people helping people, because anybody that is successful in the fire service didn't do it by themselves. Anybody that's successful in a podcast didn't do it by themselves. Everything we do is based off the help of others. And I think it's really good that we put it out there and people understand, because it makes it okay for them to reach out and write on their chalkboard.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Um, because that's why I've been waiting and try to get us on here together, because it just rolls so good. A student of the game, and writing your message on the chalkboard. Kind of goes back and forth. See, like what I
Mm-hmm.
did there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you, yours is straight facts. Be a student of the game. Come in, do the work, embrace. Mine is more metaphorically that everywhere we are, you have a chance to write something on your chalkboard. Your chalkboard is basically your career, and how you write on it is a lesson you give to somebody else. Because everywhere we are, everything we do is a teachable opportunity for us to leave our knowledge on somebody else. And that's the fire service I grew up in. I see it not as I see it trying to make a comeback. The mindset of uh, studying the craft is getting stronger from what it used to be in times past. I see the growth of people going out to conferences. People are really hungry. They want to learn how to do the job because no docking to IFSTA, but people want a lot more than what's in a manual. They
Yeah.
want to learn through like-minded individuals. Um, and we've got to set the pace for people to understand it's good to be a student. You'll always be a student. And it's super important to don't be stingy with anything you learn. Spread the message, spread the wealth.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sitting here looking at something real quick, um, and it goes. I got two things I throwed up, or I got three little quick quotes right here, and it goes so good to what we've been talking about when you talking about being a student. Now, for everybody that hasn't went and listened to the Student of the Game podcast, get on Danny's program and listen. He's got some phenomenal people that are coming on there talking to him that are truly passionate about learning. Maybe they'll fire you up. Everything's always got good learning points. And this one goes so good with what Danny does and what he was talking about earlier. It says your own department, or I'm sorry, it says you own your development. The department can provide opportunities, but the drive must come from you. And that's a very solid statement. The department can only do so much. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
do the work. And sometimes the department, let's be real, sometimes the department can't facilitate everything for you, but you can facilitate your own day off. You can put in to take a vacation day to go spend a weekend at a conference. You can do the work. It seems like it's easier to complain about why it didn't get done than it is to do a little bit of work and try to make it happen. Trust me, guys, if you put in that little bit of work, the payout you get from it is everlasting. The stuff you learn from meeting people and the networking and stuff, it is worth that day, that vacation day. Sometimes it is up to us to step up and say, I'm not going to wait on anybody to do it for me. I'm going to go ahead and do it on my own. Uh, and talking about the mentorship aspect, the teaching part, it says, when you take the time to teach, guide, and invest in people, you multiply your impact far beyond your reach. So the reason I wanted to throw that one out was the conversation when we were having earlier, and you said that when I exhaust my list, I exhausted my list. It's 100% fine because how many people did you touch in those? Let's say 500 episodes. You're gonna stop at 500 or whatever. So when you get to that 500 episodes, how many people were impacted off of those 500 episodes? A lot more than 500. If you've done 500 episodes, at
Right.
least you know you've impacted 500 people, one from
Right.
each episode.
Right.
Now let's multiply it by how many views did those 500 episodes get, and
Mm-hmm.
how many people went and had a kitchen table conversation about, hey, man, if I listened to this episode and it was it's like a branch off a tree. It just goes like crazy. So we when we invest in these people, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to invest through the WW. We're trying to get out to people and try to invest in them, and it means a lot. And then I'll where was it at? This is no, and I'll finish up with this one. This little nugget right here because I posted this one the other day. It says, "You are not successful when you're needed. You are successful when you've made yourself replaceable. And the thought to that one is what we are doing as senior people in the fire service. We understand that there is only a limited amount of time that we're going to be here. We need to make as much of an impact as we can for the good. And we are successful whenever we mentor, train, motivate, and inspire people to where they just don't replace us and our abilities, capabilities, and stuff for when it's time for us to go home, but they surpass us. Because if we're mentoring somebody, mentorship gets skewed a little times because a lot of people think mentors with rookies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still being mentored today. I'm still reaching out to people for how I can do things better. How I can, people are still guiding me how to do more things. There are chief officers, battalion chiefs, assistant chiefs. They're still being mentored by deputies and fire chiefs and stuff on how to be ready to take that next step. Kind of, and talking into this about, so if you've got 20 years on the job, you've got 20 years of experience to give to a guy that's got 5 years on the job. A lot of people don't look at it that way, but so if you decide to retire at 21 years and go home, you gave 20 years worth of experience to somebody that's got 15 years left for them to gain more and be more and do more for the fire service. That's what that means about making sure somebody can replace you and then surpass you. And that's doing the right thing, making somebody better than you ever were. Because if we give them everything we've learned young while they're young in the service, look at how much more they can grow and how much better the fire service can be.
Definitely.
That's my deep theory. That's my deep soapbox for today. Uh, what is? I know you said you've got your list, but we'll kind of tie everything up with what's the next plans for the student of the game.
Really nothing. I'm good. The format's the format. I'm just gonna finish it out the way I started. Like I'm not changing anything about it. It's the podcast is the podcast's heart is letting the guests come on. Question number one is always how'd you get into the fire service, and then it just ties into your experiences, why they decided to promote whatever rank they are. And then we could talk about something. I always tell the guests if there's something on the list that I send you that you really want to talk about that's not on there, then feel free. Like let's talk
Mhm.
about mental health, or let's talk about mentorship, or whatever they're passionate about. Like let's talk because everybody has a value that they can bring in to the fire service, and that's why with my guests I can talk to a 6 month probationary firefighter to someone that's got 50 something years of experience. It's a wide range, all ranks, all different years of service. I don't care, from big city, urban, rural, suburban. Like fire departments are fire, but we all do the same thing at the end of the day. It's just some of us see it on a different scale. Some of us have the manpower that we can flood the scene, and some of us have to do it with two or three guys. It has to get done. So that's the podcast. Nothing will change until I say appreciate it,
See you
love
later.
y'all, and I'm gonna go
Time to go
do
fish.
me. I don't fish, but I'll find something to do. That's for sure. That's for sure.
And I started off kind of like that. I started off with the whole question thing, and then I felt like it was more like it was an interview, but it felt like it was more of an interview. And then I said, let me try something different because we're the most organic conversations you have in a firehouse. Sitting on that
Usually it.
bumper, sitting on
Yep.
the
Yep.
bumper, just out in the bay, and we just bounce topics back and forth. And I said, let me try that. And I wouldn't say it's giving me any more likes or views, but I feel like the conversations we have with each other is a lot more real. And you
Mm-hmm.
truly get to know the person a lot more and their thoughts because they didn't get a questionnaire a couple weeks ahead. Okay, I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond to this whenever when it's asked. It's just, and it's not putting anybody on the spot. It's just let's have a conversation. And I try to give everybody the reassurance that, this isn't live, it's recorded. And if we talk about something and it gets we get a little passionate, a little over passionate with it or whatever, I can make it go away so you don't sound like something you don't need to sound like. I mean, I'm gonna take care of them and not put them somewhere that might interfere with their job duties. But or I think real works, and in a world of digital everything, real is something a lot of people don't get to see anymore. I mean, I was watching a Facebook thing this morning, and I was watching deer hunting. It's reels on people hunting, and a guy jumps out of a tree stand and puts a chokehold on a deer. I'm like, yeah, that's AI.
Yeah.
I mean, but we need real. We need real conversations back in the firehouse. We need real conversations back along the platform of the fire service. We need people that are truly trying to advocate for the younger generation, because they're going to be the ones to replace us. Um, my podcast is a little different. It's probably one of the only ones where sometimes the host talks as much as the guest, because I want it to be a back and forth conversation.
Right.
And it's just a little different. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's different.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being different.
No, I've been different my whole life. Ask anybody.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like to me that's like a nugget right there. Like it's okay to be different. Just because society's telling people we have to conform to different ideas and views, and it's like no, it's a our America was founded on different. Like we're all different people, but at the end of the day, what we have in common is we're all human. That's it.
Mm.
So like I don't like being put in a box. Like I get told sometimes, hey, you need to your approach. Like my approach is I'm going to approach people the way that I want to be treated. But at the end of the day, I am not conforming to your ideas because I need to fit the mold. That'll never be me. So either get over it or we don't really need to be friends. That's it.
It's kind of like somebody told me the other day. They were like, "What's the whole Uncle Wayne thing?" And I told them, I said, "It's just the way I teach." I tried, I tried the drill sergeant thing at one time, because that's what was done to me. And it was kind of like, okay, that's the way it needs to be. So that's what I'm going to do. And I realized really quick that it doesn't work. It worked in our generation. I will
Mm-hmm.
say it 100% worked in our generation. The generation we are dealing with now will shut down. They'll lock up. I mean, and it's not saying that they're softer or anything else. It's just it is that's how they are. And so I took an approach of my kids are the same age as a lot of the kids I'm teaching. How do I treat my kids? I don't treat my kids like I'm a drill sergeant. So I said, I'm not going to be their dad. Okay, I'm going to be my kid's dad. I'm not going to be their dad. But what if I start acting like that cool uncle, the one that embraces you when it needs to be, that mentors and guides you the way you need to go, and the one that'll put his foot up your butt whenever that needs to happen too. But it's kind of like situational dependent,
Uh-huh.
um, and it works. And I didn't even realize I was doing it till one of the lieutenants from a firehouse nearby come to help us go do drills one day, and he's like, "Hey, Uncle Wayne." I'm like, "Where'd that come from?" He goes, "That's exactly what you doing right there." I said, "Well, I was just trying to do something." He said, "No, you acting like you the family uncle at a training center." I said, okay. And then from then on, that's all that guy's ever called me. And then
Gotcha.
it just kind of went from there.
Gotcha.
But it's just a different spin on delivery, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought that, and this is me being narrow minded, that sometimes we have to expand. And I'm transparent enough to say, yeah, I was really narrow minded, and it took some experiences to make me open up and look at things a different way. That the change in just how I deliver myself led to me changing um how I delivered my teaching material, and it actually changed in how the students received, and actually made it to where they were learning better. and that's why it kind of stuck, and because it works well.
Definitely.
That's going to be okay. So we always end this thing
Okay.
with the guest writing his message on his chalkboard.
Okay.
So it's a little weird since I'm doing it with another podcaster because you write your message all the time. But Danny, if you had a chance to walk up to the chalkboard, write a message for the world to have for the fire service, and then you lay down that piece of chalk and walk away, and that message is going to last forever and ever, what would it be?
Be nice, remember your job, and remember the people that are counting on you. That's it.
That's it.
Just
That's
be
good.
nice. Be
That's
nice to others. Know your job as a firefighter, and remember the people who call us when they're having the worst day of their life. They're expecting professionals. Whether you're a career, volunteer, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's they call for help. Help arrives. We got to be on our A game, and that's it.
that's enough. That's a career worth right there. It really is. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Danny B, Student of the Game podcast. Get on social media, check him out. You on Spotify or where's your podcast?
I'm on Apple and Spotify. I don't have a page like I don't have a page named after the podcast. I keep the pages on the podcast is on my personal profile because I look at it as I created it. So I'm not going to do another page for like that. It's me. So if you look Student of the Game Fire, you'll never find a page on it. It's you have to search my name and then you'll see all the episodes and all the posts that I do on it. But
I like it. I like
yeah,
it.
simple, man. Simple and easy. I am a simple guy.
Well, man, thank you so much for spending the morning with me. I mean, I've had a great time, a great conversation. Hopefully, I'm working on something. I've never done a live podcast before. I've always done some records, but
Uh-huh.
I really want to reach out to a couple other guys that do podcast and just do a big boom live on Facebook one night because I know we had a time with scheduling because you truly do put your priorities with your family and stuff first, and I applaud with you for that for your scheduling and stuff
Yeah.
because family time's important, especially when being on shift and stuff. But I really wanted to try to get a couple of us together and have like 4 or 5 of us on here at one time that are all doing podcasts and stuff, and then that way it gives a time for the for everybody that listens and stuff. It never gets a chance to ask questions, be able to actually do some Q&A with the podcasters. I think that'd
Oh,
be something kind of neat.
sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
do something in the works when it gets really cold outside and you can't go do anything, you just kind of bundled up something. And but
Well,
thank you.
let me know.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. There's tons and tons of stuff in this conversation. I'll keep and take notes and break down and spread the wealth to everybody. Um, guys, get on Spotify, get on Apple, look up Student of the Game podcast. And he's got some terrific guests that come on and talk with him, and over 300 episodes deep. That means you got a lot of listening time while you're driving back and forth to work.
Uh, yeah.
Uncle Wayne, thank you guys for being on here. Stay safe, keep learning, and we'll see you the next time somebody comes and steps up to the chalkboard.
Yes, sir.